Before pyramids rose, before Rome existed, before history was written, they were already here. For more than 65,000 years, Aboriginal Australians have lived on this land. They are the world's oldest continuous living culture, surviving ice ages, rising seas, and dramatic environmental change. Their story begins long before Australia was an island, when early humans crossed open seas from Southeast Asia, guided by stars, memory, and survival. These first Australians adapted to deserts, rainforests, coasts, and mountains, shaping a deep relationship with the land. Over time, more than 250 distinct nations emerged, each with its own territory, laws, customs, and identity. More than 700 languages were spoken across the continent, carrying knowledge refined over thousands of generations. This knowledge was not written down. It was remembered, performed, sung, and passed on through story. Stories became maps. Stories became law. Stories became history. At the heart of Aboriginal culture lies the dreaming, often called dream time. It explains the creation of the world and humanity's place within it. Ancestral beings shaped rivers, mountains, animals, and people, leaving spiritual pathways across the land. Every rock, tree, and waterhole holds meaning. Songlines connected the continent, guiding people across vast distances. By singing these songs in the correct order, travelers could navigate the land with precision. Ceremony maintained balance between people, animals, and the environment. Art was not decoration, it was knowledge. Rock paintings recorded events, animals, laws, and sacred stories. Tools were crafted with extraordinary skill, and fire was used deliberately to manage the land. This practice, often called cultural burning, increased food sources, reduced destructive wildfires, and encouraged biodiversity long before modern science understood its value. Everything changed in 1788 with the arrival of the British at Sydney Cove. The land was declared empty under the doctrine of terra nullius, despite being home to thriving societies. Disease spread faster than weapons, devastating communities who had no immunity. Violence followed as settlers expanded into Aboriginal lands. Massacres occurred, and entire populations were destroyed. Yet resistance never stopped. Leaders such as Pemulwuy fought to defend their country, proving that Aboriginal people did not surrender their land willingly. As colonization deepened, government policies aimed to erase Aboriginal culture. Children were forcibly removed from their families in what became known as the stolen generations. Languages were suppressed, traditions were banned, families were broken apart. But culture did not disappear. It survived quietly, passed on in whispers, in memory, and in resilience. In the 20th century, Aboriginal Australians began to demand recognition and justice. In 1967, a national referendum overwhelmingly voted to count Aboriginal people in the census and allow the federal government to make laws for them. Land rights movements gained strength. In 1992, the Mabo decision overturned terra nullius, recognizing native title and affirming that Aboriginal people had always owned their land. In 2008, the Australian government formally apologized to the stolen generations. It was a moment of national reflection, acknowledgement, and responsibility. Healing began, though the journey toward equality and justice continues. Today, Aboriginal culture is alive. It adapts, it endures, and it continues to shape Australia. Languages are being revived. Art speaks to the world. Elders teach new generations, ensuring ancient knowledge survives in a modern age. This culture never vanished. It lives in people, in land, in memory, and in truth. This is not a lost civilization. It is the oldest living story on Earth. This is Aboriginal Australian history. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thanks.